Alright, how's it going? I'm back here with another quick T4 update real fast. I got it on here just so I can show I changed the pads up a little bit. So I had these other pads on it real quick. I had these ones, these kinetic pads. Let me get the other side here. I should have this ready to be professional here. So what I had was I had these on here, and these pads, as you can see, are so big that I they were pretty tight on my foot. I kind of wanted to move them around a little bit and have them like bent a little bit differently, but they kind of weren't going to be fitting on this like fairing setup. I don't think that these are a good fit for this wheel. For two things. One, you really don't have a lot of space. Now, I got a pretty small foot. I'm a smaller guy. Um, so it's like with these on, I don't know. It was just annoying. It like didn't fit. It like if I wanted them to be where I needed them to be, they would be hanging off, and these sat really high on my leg. Um, so what I didn't like was I had some tape on here. I said that was temporary. So I was gonna try to make it not as grippy because the material on these is really grippy. This TPU, I have some other TPU pads, but for some reason I think it's the way that the grain is on these pads. These really are like there's like a weird texture to them, but they really tear up my leg. I was getting blisters and stuff like that. The Grizzlies never really did that to me, but they were also sitting pretty high up near the edge of like where my leg would have kind of hug around this, and it was really just bothering me. Yeah, I've been riding for a while, but that was like super annoying. This fairing system is also kind of weird. So you set it up so that way, at least I do as a frame of reference. I set it up so it lines up with their like bumper kit, so that way this cutout lines up so you can still access these screws and stuff like that, and everything seems to line up pretty good that way. And I think it looks cleaner that way. Um, but you have like this weird cutout here, and I don't know if they did that so your toe can kind of like go into here. I don't know if you can see this, but like it ends a little bit, and then yeah, it just creates like this little pocket in there. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess I can kind of like get my toe in there, but sometimes it feels weird, like my toe's going beyond like tucked down. I just want it to be flat, and it's like going in instead of just being. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I don't know why it's the way it is, but that's how it is. Um, so I put smaller pads on. Love it, absolutely love it. You don't need the thing about the T4 is you really don't need tall power pads. You don't need to push this wheel to get power out of it. Both my other wheels, the EXN, the S18, you really gotta push to get them to go up like inclines, especially if you don't already have momentum. Um, this wheel, you don't need, you just lean a little bit. I only weigh about 140. Um, it's just the most effortless wheel that I've ever ridden. I've ridden tons of other wheels. Don't get it um, mistaken. A lot of people say, "Oh, you haven't ridden Masters, this, that, the other." I've ridden S22s, Master Pro, EX30. EX30 is another good wheel, and I liked it a lot. But I didn't think I would for how heavy it was. Commander Pro is kind of a dog a little bit to kind of get it moving. I didn't like the guy's pad setup he had on it, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, change the pads out. Smaller pads, bigger pads don't always mean better. You have other issues with these pads too. I had these pieces. There's like a one minor, really slow fall, and these like pieces can kind of like come apart and like separate, and they're like hard to separate on purpose. But I don't know what was going on. They were just separating sometimes and like popping apart, which they shouldn't really be able to do. But I guess enough force on this joint here can pop those out. So that happened. Still not sure how I feel about these pedals. They're a little bit wide for trails. I have some chunks taken out on one of them. It might be the other side of these teeth here. The person I bought this from had these. I would never have put these on here. I really want just a little bit thinner pedals, but I could probably maybe up the angle just a little bit more, give me some more clearance on turns and just in trails, because this wheel is a lot wider than I'm used to with the S18. Mudguard's been doing pretty good. I kind of want an aftermarket one, not because I think this one is bad. I've seen people dogging on these. I just took this off-roading, was hitting jumps and everything like that, and it did its job. I knocked it off a little bit after the mud dried. There's still a little bit kicked on there, but no real issues. I mean, a little bit of stuff kind of gets up in there, but nothing too crazy. Um, I still think that it'd be cool to get something to extend this piece. I don't know if you should be able to see in there. There's just two bolts and there's this metal piece. It's like bent in the shape of an L and it's just two pieces there. You could legitimately just extend this out and then have something that blocks everything. The only thing I don't like about this is that the wheel is spinning like this, so this is moving up and it's kind of flinging stuff up onto the shock. So the shock's getting kind of nasty, and I don't really like the shock being in the way of all that. It's definitely going to cause issues with the seals down the line. But that's neither here nor there. Still have the stock shock. It's okay. For now, I kind of want to try spring with like oil and rebound adjustment and stuff. The rebound on this is so slow. Even wide open, it's just really slow. And I just kind of want something else. It's like it's not bad. I don't bottom out. Again, I'm 140. But it's not really an issue at the moment. It's not like a requirement, but you definitely could get a better shock. I don't know if the spring is necessarily going to be better, but the spring will be faster. It'll give you dampening still, because if you get like any minorly advanced spring that's not just a spring, you get the rebound and the dampening control. This here, the rebound and dampening is both in just one knob. So it's like if you tighten it up enough, it's basically like you have no suspension, and whenever it does compress, it decompresses really slowly. So I have it wide open and it still kind of like pushes out pretty slowly. It makes jumps kind of weird with this because it like pushes in and it doesn't like bounce you back out if you want to like get that extra boost from it. But that's just a small thing. Another thing, I did measure the tire. The tire's outer diameter is 18 inches. It's 18 inches, like exactly to the outer diameter. And the S18 tire that I have is actually 19 inches flat. So, this wheel really doesn't handle that much different. I said that in the last video, but it feels like an 18-inch wheel. It doesn't feel like, a lot of people are like, oh, maybe the Nikola's unstable. This doesn't feel like a Nikola at all. Not at all. Look how thick this tire is. You're not getting to this rim. You're not going to even come close to it. At least if you have like 35 plus PSI, like 35 is probably the lowest I'll go. I got like 40 right now, but it's so thick. You have a solid rim. There's not, anything else. It's just straight to the motor. So there's really not a lot that can go wrong here. It's going to be hard to crack the rim on these, and I've not seen anyone that has damaged their T4. So yeah, big fan. Knobby tire. It's aggressive. It's good off-road. Handles kind of like a dog on road. But that's what I got the EXN with the street tire for, so that's fun to whip around. But yeah, that was it. Nothing else too crazy. Just kind of wanted to ramble and get my thoughts into a video about this. Been liking the pad setup. I said I took it jumping and everything like that. I got, way more range of movement now between the pads, and seated riding is a little bit better because this here would kind of interfere with like my upper legs and like other just, I can just be more comfortable now with less pads. So I like this. The other thing, there is one small thing that I did not touch on. So whenever you do use these pads, and you have this set up so that way you're lifting this with your foot, you're locked in, but the only surface area that you're contacting the Velcro is this small little piece here. And the problem with that is it's just not a lot of surface area. So I would start the ride like this, and as the ride would progress, or if I'm riding trails, it would slowly kind of creep up, and then my foot would be kind of loose, and it would start moving around, and I'm like, what's going on? With this, with the Grizzlies, this is the medium size. This whole piece is just solid. There's nothing, there's nothing moving through this. I could lift the wheel, by just one of the Grizzlies. So there's nothing that's going to move here. So this is just the stock medium Grizzlies. That's really all there is to it. You can move these around however you want. You can like cut this stuff if it's in the way. I got some other ones that I got from my man Tap, and I got the bigger knockoff versions of these on the on my EXN, because the EXN is kind of a dog, and I like riding faster, but to ride fast on it, it's like hard for me to sustain it really leaning forward on my toes for a long period of time. So if I want to ride like 5 to 10 miles going 30, 35 on the EXN, it's kind of tiring. So I got some bigger pads, so it's a little bit easier. You just kind of like bend down and your knees naturally go out, and then that pushes on this, and it makes it pretty easy to maintain speed on that wheel. But this, you don't need it. You just lean and it takes you up a hill. So um, yep, that's really all that it is. Hopefully anything I said here was useful. If you have any other questions or any content you'd like to see, or maybe mods you'd like my opinion on about the T4, let me know. If anyone has heavily trail ridden, what pedals do you like? I've been thinking about the Atom G pedals. They're expensive, but you're not going to break them. It has a chromium rod. I have Clark pedals on my EXN, but I don't want to put these pedals on the EXN because these are super wide and the EXN is really low to the ground. So I'm really going to be scraping these up on turns on the EXN. So, yeah, if you have any other ideas, let me know. If not, then take care and enjoy the ride.